Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. Happy nope, not a Monday. Happy Wednesday morning. It's a Wednesday that feels like a Monday here. 1st of June, June 1st, 2011, guys. Happy Wednesday morning to you guys. Happy hump day. And hope you had a great holiday weekend. Of course, the unofficial kickoff of the summertime is officially behind us. I, of course, had to put my SPF on. Hope you guys had a great holiday weekend. Rested, relaxed, hopefully refocused, right? We took some time off, and here we came back into our trading this morning, guys. Wednesday morning, not sure what to expect. I always have a very simple plan of attack. When I go on vacation and I come back, whether it be a couple days, a couple of weeks, or even a couple months. I know a lot of my clients take off on big trips around the world. They bring a laptop with them. They come back into the markets after a couple months off. And this is the topic of our discussion early this morning. What is the process that I go through when you come back from a vacation? Maybe it was a forced time away from the markets, or maybe it was a chosen time away from the markets. But what do? We talked about this morning some of the key components we go through. Get your personal stuff done first, right? Clear your mind. I tell all my traders on my team, if your personal life isn't under control, how can your professional life be? We talked about getting back into the rhythm, having some fun, going through our news, and we really, for the most part, we talked about the easiest, most effective way of getting back into your daily routine. And the easy way to do it is not trying to do too much, right? That was always one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I tried to come back from a long holiday. Forget the fact if you had time to think about all these great ideas you had, right? Because if you're like me, I spent my 4 days on the beach thinking about ways I could be a better trader. And so I have all these ideas going through my mind, and on Wednesday morning I come in and I say, hold on, remember, you got where you are today by following your morning routine. And so I take all those crazy ideas going around in my head, I put them up, right? I sit on them and I think about get back into my routine first. I'll worry about these new trading ideas later on, right? I'll implement those when I can fully digest them. One of the hardest things coming back though is not doing too much. And that was the first thing we did today. We took a lot of time going over our crude, our gold, our dollar. We spent a lot of time making sure we did everything the right way the first time. That way we set that foundation. In this case, it's the emotional and technical foundation because I want to make sure I'm doing the right things at the right time, getting back into that routine. So Wednesday morning, first day back, get back into that morning routine. Clear your mind, get back into that routine, and off to the races we go. In that process of going through that routine, the first thing we did was look at the news. And it wasn't what we had today, it was what we didn't have today, and that was crude oil inventories. Wednesday mornings mean what? Crude inventories. In fact, we always spend most of the day on Wednesday trading crude. Not today. Well, we didn't expect to today. The first thing we saw this morning was, obviously, after we took our time, got back into the rhythm of the day, we noticed it was the lack of news today that really was the big red flag. We expected that most traders would come back today, but we still needed to see some proof, so we began to watch the markets carefully. Now, we knew right away if we didn't have crude inventories today on Wednesday, when are they? They're tomorrow. But think of the dynamic behind that. If there's no inventories today, remember, traders are creatures of habit, which means if there's nothing today, if it's tomorrow, I'm probably not going to trade today, and I'm probably not going to be able to have confidence trade tomorrow. So all those professional crude oil traders, in my opinion, probably took the day off this morning. And we knew that going into it, so we stayed very careful to make sure we saw that proof. Now, what is that proof I'm talking about? Proof is the heavy speed, right? The rising ATR, the big money, momentum confirms. That proof. In other words, if I see a breakout, I'm not going to simply buy the highs. I'm going to buy a pullback, waiting for proof. So that was the type of proof I was waiting for early this morning. We got back into the rhythm of things early this morning. We checked the news, no crude inventories. We knew right away, red flag, low volume on crude. Then, like we always do, dollar, crude, gold, we began to put together our plan of attack. And what did we see in the dollar this morning? A bear channel. Now, the dollar in a bear channel, what does that tell us? Gold rises, crude rises, euro rises, right? Or it should. So we saw this morning, 8 o'clock this morning, dollar index in a bear channel. And basically what a bear channel tells me is the highest percentage trades today will be to the long side. Dollar dropping, right? Crude, gold, Russell, euro should be rising. That negative correlation between the dollar and commodities, stock indexes, etc. So the dollar index right away says, be on the lookout for rising prices. And we always know rising prices, I'm going to buy pullbacks or a two-step pattern long off some support. We then move to crude. And on crude oil, what do we see? Previous high of day above us. Previous low of day below us. What do we call that? Inside day. We saw an inside day on crude oil. What does that tell me? Inside day tells me nothing's changed since Friday, right? Nothing's changed since the previous day's market. Therefore, we should expect nothing to change again. An inside day tells me I'm not going to trust breakouts. They'll have to prove it to me. So I'm going to buy the lows, sell the highs. Inside day on crude meant we wanted to trade inside the range. So when price rises up, I'm going to sell the highs. When price drops back down, I'm going to buy the lows. Crude inside day, beware of fake out breakouts. Buy the lows of the range, sell the highs of the range. And then last but not least, we grab gold. And what happened on gold today? Well, still pretty sloppy, but we saw a complete 180-degree picture that we saw on crude. Gold was an outside day. So here we have crude inside, which means we want to trade inside the range. What do you think an outside day means? Oh, and by the way, guys, you can search the blog right now. We just did a special video on inside versus outside days. You can search the blog for that or contact our sales team and they'll give you guys more information on it. So inside, outside days. On gold, we saw an outside day. What does an outside day mean? An outside day, for me, it means that something is changing. The opinions of value in the market are changing, and therefore, I'm going to trade outside the current trading range. That means the high percentage trade is the breakout, right? Breaking up higher, breaking out lower. We knew we wanted to buy pullbacks or sell retracements. So, sloppy day out there, but boy, at about 9:30 this morning, we had put together a fantastic plan of attack. We said, dollars dropping, I want to be a buyer because of it. Okay, now that could change obviously, but that's what we saw at first, and that's what continued to happen this morning. Okay, we're always keeping an eye out though, because remember, things can change easily. However, at that time, dollar dropping, I'm going to buy crude. I'm going to buy gold. So we knew right away we wanted to be a buyer in this market. All we had to do now was wait for the market to come to us. We found a sideways range on the crude. We bought the lows of it. Right? Inside the range, inside day. On the gold, what do we see on gold? We got kind of surprised when gold jumped, right? What was it, 10:30 this morning? At 10:15, I think it was this morning, they announced that debt ceiling August 2nd, and that caused gold to jump. When it jumped, it kind of surprised us. But once we were able to refocus, we realized, hey, new higher highs, dollars dropping, let's buy some pullbacks. We bought pullbacks on gold. So a sloppy day across the board. Again, like I said this morning, it felt like half the market never came to work today. I'm sure the other half are sitting on an airplane somewhere getting back to reality after their long weekend. So sloppy day, but we followed our plan, and our plan gave us that edge in the market we needed. Sideways range. We break out of the sideways range, right? And then you can see here, we go sideways. Well, once we saw that we weren't going to keep falling like a rock, and we recalled we were inside day today, we said, all right, next time it comes down here, right, let's buy these lows. It's exactly what I did. Buy the lows there at 1031, 101.79, a two-step long, right? So two-step pattern long, very easy pattern to take. I get a little bit of slippage here. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus 11 is 27, plus 7 is 34. As you can see, not a very big trade at all. Didn't go very far, but we followed our plan. Inside day on the crude, right? Buy those lows. Dollars dropping, look to be a buyer. And remember, we had just saw how price bounced quickly off those lows and went sideways here. That gave us the confidence we needed that we weren't going to drop like a rock, well, like the gold did. We'll check this in a second. So we take the lows here, we buy the lows, again, knowing the full picture here, dollar dropping, inside day on crude, and of course we're going to buy right there. 4 range entry, 2-step pattern long, there's your buy. We'll then go sideways again. Now here's where we know it's supposed to be an inside day, but I'll never ignore a new lower low with a wave pattern. See this? There's your wave pattern short. Now you can see later on, it did end up tumbling here. This one, of course, was not the one that had that in mind just yet. So at 1051, I take the wave pattern short here, 101.62, get a +5, -5, and of course, get a new lower low. We look to sell the retracement. Am I really that surprised, though, that it didn't work out? No, not at all. In fact, I told everybody in the room this morning, we've got oversold momentum. The only reason why we're looking at this thing is because this is all that's moving right now. So we'll look at that seller retracement. Got lots of sellers there, but very, very easy to see why. Wave pattern short. I got my +5, then get bounced out for -5, and then price goes sideways. Now, late in the morning here, we'd already gone to trading by now, but we had a token print. We broke to the highs, token print. What I missed was, this should have been my heads up here, right? Double bottoms, what do we know? Sell resistance. It was just so slow and sloppy here, and by the time 12 o'clock rolled around, we finally got the price moving, but by then, we'd gone to training, we threw in our towel earlier, and then wouldn't you know, look where it goes. All the way down to that previous low of day, all the way down to those channel lows, and it kept going all the way down to that 100 big round number and even further lower. At 10:15 here, we get that announcement that the debt ceiling will be hit at August 2nd, which of course, right, surprise, we then have price jump. And when price jumps, it then goes real quiet here. Now, we tried to look for two trades here. One, wave pattern long, didn't see consistency to the buy side. Then we said, well, if we're not seeing the big buyers in control right now, I'm going to look to sell these highs. And I gave you guys the exact entries, target, and stop on this, but we didn't get anything to sell off here. So, of course, we're stuck there. And if you look at the reality here, we're right below the top of that channel. So my channel highs are right there. So of course, when I come up here like this, I have a really hard time. If it's really sloppy like that, I have a hard time obviously waiting enough, because the problem is I'm going to have to wait for speed. I'm going to have to wait for big buyers. I'm going to have to wait to really see proof here to buy this pullback. So once I saw the proof, it was already all the way up there to those highs. I stayed away from it. Decided let's look for a short, didn't see the short, we then make new higher highs, and that's where we break above the top of that channel. I'm going to buy a pullback there, take my profit off at the top of the channel. So 1120 on gold, that's a wave long, 48.7, +5, +10, and +18, 2 off at 5 is 10, 20, 38 ticks. So you can see here another good example of where we really only had one big winner on gold, and we had that one big winner on crude oil this morning, and you can easily see it just simply came by following our plan.